did you eat today? Did you drink a soda? Did you drink coffee with sugar? Did you drink an iced tea? If you ate or you drank anything but plain water, you probably need to thank a bee. But did you also know that at this point we have bees that are actually on the endangered list? That's scary. Scary, because without bees, we don't eat. Did you know that bees pollinate over 80% of our food products in the United States? In the last several years, the honey production has fallen, in some cases by as much as 60%, some cases 50%. This is due a lot to lack of diversity, pesticides, even humans taking over where bees used to live. We have become, so many of us, that we no longer have wild fields of flowers. We no longer have wild forests for the bees to pollinate and get their food from. So this means we have less bees, or our humongous amounts of climate change is even changing. We have less diversity in our food products. In Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, food growing products, and California. In California, they used to grow over hundreds of different foods. Now they concentrate on more like 8 or 9 products. And so there's less diversity in California. In Nebraska, they used to have these thousands and thousands of acres of wildflower fields and natural grasses. Now they grow corn and soybeans. So there's no diversity. Without diversity, genetically, our honeybees decline. When the honeybees decline, then you have less honey, of course. The worst of this is, without bees, we don't have food, because of the extreme amount of pollination done by the honeybees. We can't self-pollinate all our corn. That would be impossible. So without the bees, we don't have food. And bees travel humongous amounts of distance just to produce honey. And due to our extreme climate changes, we are experiencing worse winters than we've had for over 100 years. We're experiencing worse droughts than we have for over 70 years. Okay, so the droughts in California mean that there's less produce. Less produce means there's less bees pollinating. And you can't grow food if you don't have bees. You can't grow food if you don't have water. If you don't have water, you don't have bees. It's a very vicious cycle. In the Midwest, we've had these horrible, horrible, horrible winters where instead of the normal 8 to 10 inches a year of snow, we've had 24, 48, and in some places as much as 7 and 8 feet of snow on the ground at one time. This means our hives cannot survive these extreme colds because they have to have a certain amount of food to survive. Or we're feeding them with fructose sugar instead of fructose syrup instead of their natural honey, which lessens them genetically again. So if we don't have good genetics in our bees because of their natural environments and the natural diversities, then our bees don't survive again. So again, we're killing our own bees because we're clearing all this land for people, then using all the water, or causing the climate changes, which is causing the bees to die. Again, a very vicious cycle. I cannot understand how we have done this to ourselves. I understand we're populating, but I just don't agree with what we're doing to our own world. What can we do to perhaps make up for some of these things? Well, in our own backyards, we could plant flowers. We could plant a lot of different flowers and you have cement blocks setting around. Put dirt in them. Plant a flower. More bees that we have, the better off we have of surviving, because without bees, we don't survive, because they are literally 1/3 of our food in the world literally comes because of bees. So again, you wonder why we have starvation in our world, starvation in our United States, starvation and droughts and these huge climate changes. Perhaps it all comes back to whether or not we have bees. Do we have bees? Do we keep our bees and keep our own hives? That might be an idea too. Let's teach our people in these small towns like Joplin, Quapaw, Miami, to how to take care of bees. We're in the Midwest and we're not getting hit as hard by the climate changes. So maybe we need, as an area in the 4 states, to step up our game to plant more flowers, to plant more diversity of products, to make sure our bees survive a little bit better in our area so that we can save the bees. Because if we don't save the bees, we don't eat. If we don't save the bees, we don't have flowers. We don't save the bees, we don't have trees. And I don't know about you, but I want this world to be around for my grandchildren, for my grandchildren's grandchildren. I never want my children to be hungry. I never want my grandchildren's grandchildren's to be hungry. For future generations, we need to take care of our bees now. So we either save the bees now or we don't have it forever.